My son played his first season of T-ball this year. And the skill building, I mean, these coaches, they did such a fantastic job. They took these kids that did not know anything about the game. I mean, it's not just hitting a ball, by the way. Which way do I run when I hit it? What are the rules to this game? How do I throw it and how do I catch it? How do I catch something in the air? How do I pick up a grounded ball? I mean, there's a lot to baseball, and the skill building of these kids has been very obvious. Coaches did a great job. As we come to the end of the season, though, right? And I'm doing stuff as a dad that I've sworn I wouldn't do. I've always sworn I am the chauffeur. I will get my child to and from practice. The coach will be the coach. But I find myself bringing up the practice, or I find myself bringing up the game, or the way that the ball was hit, or what kind of focus and attention was paid. Very light, but still more than I thought that I would do. My son's playing, and the coaches move him to every position. You'll be first base, you'll be pitcher, you'll be catcher, you'll be outfield. He just keeps moving the kids, right? There's not like a first baseman, and here's our second baseman. It's skill building. Everybody gets to play everything. Figure out down the road, 2-3 years from now, you can start to identify and lock in on one position. I played T-ball. Can you guys relate? Was that game around in your neighborhoods? Did you get to play? Because it was so much fun. What a great game. But I was the pitcher. The pitcher in T-ball, because the ball sits on a tee, it's not the same as a pitcher. Okay, the pitcher in T-ball is not the same as a pitcher. It's a pitcher, in T-ball. So I played T-ball for 7 seasons. Played it from like 4 years old on up to 11. All of a sudden, I qualified for baseball. So my first day I'm walking out there, I think I'm going to do T-ball. Turns out there's no T's and it's baseball. Whatever. Got my glove. Where's my hat? Coach says, "What position do you play?" I was introducing myself to him. This is the first time I had met the coach, and he had something known as a clipboard and a pen. And he writes next to my name, Chael Sonnen, what I told him, which is I've been pitching for 7 years. That doesn't come to bite me in the ass because I'm not the pitcher anyway. I was just sharing that I could. I've done it for 7 years. Well, somewhere along the way of the season, our pitcher can't play. Something happens, can't play. Coach goes to that clipboard, finds out who the pitcher is, sees Chael Sonnen's been doing it for 7 years, and puts me in. I have never even in practice thrown a ball to a catcher in a bent down position with a face mask and somebody in between known as a batter. It's never happened. I've seen it done, but I've never actually thrown it. So I throw that ball for the very first time. And you guys know it's called like the backstop. It's a metal mesh cage. I throw the ball. Oh, it goes over the backstop, and that's where the parents were sitting. So the parents had to like move out of the way as this meteorite comes landing in, and that just made for a really long day. It just made for a very long day of everybody watching Chael trying to throw the ball. All I gotta do is play catch. Get the ball from here to that glove that the pitcher's holding. I played catch every day. I could not play catch with the batter in between, people watching, and the guy in a squatted down position. There was just something about it. Yet all these years later, I can't understand that my child doesn't just automatically know the games of baseball, right? It's one of those things, and you guys are guilty too. You got to remind yourself. You've got to remind yourself, and that's not the only time that I misrepresented my abilities, by the way. I was in Utah, and I was training under Mark Schultz, Olympic champion, fought in the UFC. I trust many of you will know who Mark Schultz is. But Mark Schultz was a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and he used to work out with Pedro Sauer, and he used to work out with Walt Bayless, 2 very legitimate black belts, 2 of the best in the world. And they were very close workouts. You wouldn't know who was better between those 3 guys. Neither Walt or Pedro Sauer gave Mark his black belt. Mark went down to something called Mervyn's. It was a department store at the time. Myron Frank and Mervyn's used to kind of be side by side. I think Mervyn's is out of business, but he went to Mervyn's and he bought a black belt, and he started wearing it. And if he entered events or he put out DVDs or he did any kind of media, he would represent himself as a black belt. And he's the one that explained to me that if I'm tough enough to wear it and I'm willing to go compete with other black belts, that I'm a black belt. Great. Me too. So I go back to Oregon, and there's a gym down in Eugene, and I'm wrestling for the Ducks in Eugene, going to school there. But I had my own fantasies of a martial arts gym. So I was going and getting kickboxing workouts at this gym, but they had a grappling team. And the grapplers that were the head instructors in that gym were purple belts. But There was a time when there weren't enough black belts. There weren't even enough brown belts. You were a purple belt, you could have your own jiu-jitsu team and people would come to you because no one else had a purple belt. Ryan Kelly was this guy, and he was running. He was running the class in there, and I had told Ryan's friend that I'm a black belt. If you guys ever want to work out, I'm happy to work with you. Matter of fact, I have a black belt. So the friend does go tell Ryan that, and Ryan finds me on my way out. I was doing a Muay Thai class, finds me way out, says, "Hey, I hear you got a black belt." I said, "Yeah, I do." And he says, well, let's work out. So he ties me in all sorts of positions, right? I didn't know the difference, though. I never worked out with a belt guy. I worked out in the room, and I watched Schultz work out, and he had this one conversation with me where he told me, if you're tough enough to wear it, then you own it. I never represented myself as a black belt again. I realized that I was not, but I feel that my point is the same. There is something to be said for the confidence. But I've told you guys a million times, as much as the guy who wanted to write a book and sell it on Amazon tries to convince you that this is mental and it's whatever you think up here, you believe it, you can achieve it. I'm here to tell you it's physical. I was tougher than either one of those guys. Now I am a black belt. I would be tying them in knots. This isn't about them. They were perfectly nice guys. I came in a fake black belt, misrepresented myself. They, in the nicest way you could do it, showed me that I wasn't. I only bring to you, it's not always what you think, okay? It's not always what you think. I know a lot of coaches love to say that. This is 80% mental. I know that. But I was convinced I had a black belt. I believed that. Physically, it was a little closer to white.